Hello and welcome. Today we're going on a little journey. We're going to follow the money and unpack a system that most of us use every single month without even thinking about it, the direct debit. It's the engine that runs our subscriptions, our bills, our memberships. So let's pull back the curtain on this everyday financial mystery.
So here's the big question, right? We live in this world where you can tap your phone and pay for coffee instantly. You can send money to a friend and it's there in seconds. So why on earth does your gym membership or your phone bill take this kind of scenic route through the banking system? It's a great question, and there's a really interesting answer.
And that answer really starts with this one word, Bax. Bax isn't some newfangled tech. It's been the reliable, old-school workhorse for big electronic payments in the UK since way back in 1968. See, Bax wasn't built for a single speedy payment. It was built to handle massive volumes of payments, like everyone's electricity bills all at once, securely and cheaply.
Okay, so before a single penny can even think about moving, something really important has to happen first. You have to give your permission. This is the absolute foundation of the whole system. It's the digital handshake.
And that permission, it has an official name. It's called a direct debit instruction, or you might hear it called a mandate. Honestly, just think of it as the official permission slip you sign. It's you telling your bank, yep, I know this company, and I give them the green light to take payments from my account. Without this, nothing can happen.
Now, you might be picturing the stacks of paper. And you know what? You wouldn't have been wrong back in the day. But today, thankfully, most of these handshakes are all digital. There's a system called ODIS, which lets companies zap that permission slip over to your bank electronically. It makes the whole setup process way faster and cuts down on silly manual errors.
All right, so permission is granted. The handshake is done. Now the real journey begins. And this isn't a sprint, you guys. It's more like a carefully planned 3-day march. And we are going to break down every single step. And here it is. This is the official map of the journey straight from the source. You can see it clear as day. 3 distinct phases. Day 1, input. Day 2, processing. And day 3, entry. This is the famous 3-day back cycle that powers it all. So what actually happens on each of those days?
Let's get into it. So on day 1, the company you're paying, say your mobile phone provider, bundles up all the payments it needs to collect into one giant file and sends it off to Bax. Then, on day 2, it's the bank's turn. They get that file and spend the day processing it, checking all the instructions, getting everything lined up. Then, and only then, do we get to day 3. This is entry day. It's when the money is actually debited from your account and, on the very same day, credited to the company's account.
And if you love the details, this table lays it out perfectly. It runs like clockwork. Companies have until 10:30 at night on day 1 to submit their files. Then, bright and early the next morning, 6 a.m., the banks kick into gear. And by 9:30 in the morning on day 3, boom, the transaction is done. It's the super rigid schedule that makes the whole thing so reliable for millions and millions of payments.
Now, this is the bit that catches so many people out. The back cycle doesn't work on weekends or bank holidays. It's strictly a working day system. So think about it. If a company submits a payment on a Friday, that's day 1. Saturday and Sunday don't count, so day 2 is actually Monday, which means day 3, the day the money actually moves, isn't until Tuesday. It's a really important thing to remember.
But of course, life isn't always perfect. What happens when this well-oiled machine hits a snag? Because not every payment journey ends in success, and figuring out why is really important, both for us as customers and for the businesses we're paying.
The good news is the failure rate is actually super low, usually under 1.5%. But you have to remember, we're talking about billions of transactions here, so even that tiny percentage adds up to millions of failed payments. And that can be a real headache for everyone involved.
So when a payment does fail, it doesn't just disappear. The bank sends a special report back to the business. It's got a pretty technical name. It's called an RUDD report. But the most important part of that report is the reason code, which is basically a little note from the bank explaining exactly what went wrong.
So let's look at the usual suspects. Reason code 0, which is referred to payer, is almost always the most common one. It's just a polite way of saying there wasn't enough money in the account. Code 1 means you've told your bank to cancel the direct debit. Code B is simple. The account's been closed. And code 6 is an interesting one. It means the company tried to take the money before your permission slip was fully processed by the bank.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about what is, genuinely, the most powerful part of this entire system. It's all about protecting you, the consumer. And it is the single biggest reason why direct debit is considered one of the safest ways to pay for things in the UK.
The direct debit guarantee is just incredibly strong. And honestly, this one sentence sums up its power perfectly. If a payment is taken for the wrong amount on the wrong day or for any reason it shouldn't have been, you get a full and immediate refund. No questions asked.
The official fancy term for this process is an indemnity claim. But really, just think of it as the magic undo button for a direct debit payment. When you make a claim, your bank is legally required to give you your money back right away. They then sort out getting the money back from the company themselves.
So, how do you actually do it? It's way easier than you might think. You just contact your bank, in person, on the phone, online, whatever. You use those specific words. I want to make a direct debit indemnity claim. Tell them a payment was taken in error, the wrong amount, or the wrong date is plenty of reason. You don't need a long, complicated story. Your bank has to honor the guarantee and give you a refund on the spot. It's that simple.
So let's circle all the way back to our very first question. Why the 3-day delay? Well, this slide makes it crystal clear. BACS and faster payments are two different tools for two completely different jobs. BACS is like a long-distance lorry built to carry huge loads, all our bills, cheaply and reliably. Faster payments is like a sports car. It's built for getting a single person from A to B as fast as humanly possible. You need both to make the system work.
And there you have it, the journey of a direct debit. It's deliberate, it's reliable, and, as we've seen, it's incredibly secure. So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know just how powerful that consumer guarantee is, are you going to look at your bank statements a little differently from now on? Thanks for joining us.